Hey, it's Novice here. And as someone who grew up as the oldest two brothers, sometimes you'd have to find ways to entertain yourselves. And one of the things my brothers and I used to do is we used to basically we used to play pretend with like superpowers. Basically, one of us would have a different one, and the other one would have another one, and then, you fight about it. And growing up, I would come to realize that feeling of wanting to do that hasn't really changed, but it's kind of evolved into something else. Like my brother and I, we were having a conversation the other day, and I asked him like, "What do you think the best, power system in anime would be to like if it was transferred like to the real world as it is now?" And we talked back and forth, and we really couldn't come to a consensus. Unless it was like one of them, and it was the one we didn't really want to be in this world. And that's what I'm gonna talk about today. So this is a list of what I think would be the best power systems to bring into the real world. Now, when I say power systems, I'm talking about the world's way of being like super enabled. So it's not going to be like what is it? It's not going to be based. Every one of them is going to be somehow a little bit different, and they're all going to have something like a throughout line. Like the owners of these things are just basically superhuman, and so I'm gonna start the list off with the entry that I do not want in our world. That am happy to stay fictional, and that is anything Chainsaw Man related. Like Chainsaw Man is a dark manga. I think people argue of it being in the dark triad of manga out there, right? But like the story, it's so dark. Basically, all of human emotion turns into like these devils that embody the specific fear, and then they come up into the world after dying in hell. And people use those to fight other devils, but it comes like at a cost like say you want to use that big fox that Aki uses. I think he gave up parts of his skin and some other stuff. And that's terrible. Like you come at me saying I can grant you all this power, but I'm gonna need some of that arm right there. That's not for me. And another one that is not for me is my next entry on the ones I do really not want, mostly because I know how people are, and a lot of people are gonna be upset if they hear this. And honestly, I say let them, because the next entry is quirks from My Hero Academia. Now, My Hero Academia the quirk system there is kind of okay, right? You got the chance of being superpowered anime Jesus, but there's also like superpower racism. Like all these people in the story that I think they're called what heteromorphs, and it's basically like if you drew the short end of the stick when it came to the genetic lottery. And my luck has never been that great, except for on some instances. So I don't want to sit there and have that into the real world and just my head just be a cactus, because my God, that would not be great. But I really went over the kind of the worst ones to have in there, mostly because I personally wouldn't want, Chainsaw Man, and people are already racist, so superpower racism from like quirks is not good for humanity. But the next entry is like the okay, like I'm not gonna turn it down. It's like it's there if it's there, right? And the next one is Key from Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball any of the other ones. Because to access Key as a human, you gotta be like super enabled already in a way. Like you gotta be like at the pinnacle of martial arts or something like that in order to access your Key. And I know very well that most people in the world are not gonna be on that level, so it's not really possible. Like if you're born like an alien, you that's a different story because apparently they can use it or something like that. But like when you're on Earth, when you're human, you got to go through all like years and years of training. or if you're Videl, just get a crash course from Gohan. But regardless, you got to be at the top in order to access Ki. Like Goku and Krillin trained from their when they're babies, and same with all the rest of the Z fighters, and half of them aren't even human. So I personally wouldn't want it, and even though it's like the coolest and not the coolest, but it's the most iconic power system, it's not going to be realistic for the human race. Another Okay, so here's another okay one, right? And it's Hamon from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Specifically, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure 1 and 2. Because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure 3 and 4, they get something else that's going to be talked about later on the list. But Hamon is basically everything Demon Slayer wishes it could be, because the powers that Hamon gives you are actually real, right? Hamon is basically a breathing technique that it derives energy from the sun, if I remember correctly. And then they use the abilities they have to fight vampires or something like that. They can use it for other things too, as like an enhancement to other properties. But like my thing is the training that JoJo went through, I'm not for it because dude was practically drowned multiple times by his own mom. And I'm okay. You know what, y'all, if y'all want that, come on. Like I said, it's on the okay. I'm not gonna turn it down if I have it, but I'm not really rocking with it that much. Another one I'm not gonna really rock with, and this is gonna get maybe a little bit more hate than anything I've said before, but chakra. I don't want it. And you might be saying, Novice, why don't you want chakra? Chakra is the thing that Naruto is from. And yes, you might be right. But I wouldn't want it because, I don't know, I'm not good at throwing up all those gang signs that activate any of these superpowers. And you got to have an understanding of all this. It might be okay, but at the very end of the day, chakra is like, it's like key. Like you got to be at the top of everything in order to access it. And I'm not space Jesus or human Jesus or for this instant ninja Jesus in order to activate this. And I know some use it, and some people out there might be like, well, everyone has chakra, so you can use it, but not everyone has the skills to use it. That's most likely what I'm talking about. And now we're gonna move on to the good category. These are the ones I do want. Like these are actually cool techniques. Some of them might seem weird, right? And it's gonna be the first one on the list is Cursed Energy from JJK. Now you might be thinking, hey, you said you didn't want chakra, but this almost like it. It's not. Cursed Energy is actually cooler. The effects are cooler. Although no one is, going at the speed of light unless you're like Gojo, but still, Cursed Energy is kind of cool because everyone gets like one that's, I think, like custom made to them, their specific curse technique, and it's up to them to figure out how to use it in an effective way. And obviously, there's like the what is it? The binding vows that can make you stronger because the more risk, the more reward. That's kind of a cool concept. That is one that I kind of want to see how people would be putting into use in the real world. Another one I'd want people to put into the real world, and this is kind of what I was talking about at the beginning of the list. It's technically not really a power system, but it feels like it should be, right? And that is hockey and devil fruits. And that might sound like it should be on two different settings on the list, but trust me, hear me out. You got devil fruits, right? They're supposed to be these rare things in the world, right? Like most people, they hear about people with devil fruits, but they've never seen a devil fruit unless you go to the Grand Line, where practically everyone has a devil fruit for some reason. Every named character, it makes no sense. Right, so you got all these devil fruits in the world. You got like the likes of Luffy's Nika fruit. You got even like Ace's Flame fruit. You got Nell's Rumble, which is practically just lightning. And in this world, a lightning based ability would be absolutely all powerful at this. Like in this world, where we're all technologically, dependent, it would be weird. Not weird. It would be overpowered. And since devil fruits are a rare thing, you have to have something to kind of level it out, and that's where hockey comes in because you get your three types: observation, armament, and conquerors. You can keep all the statistics there. Like one in like 1 million people get conquerors hockey. Everyone has access to the other two, but it's up to you to refine everything to get past. And that's what I like because you got the devil fruits and then you got the hockey to balance out, so there's balance everywhere. Makes sense. And another thing that makes sense is the second entry from JoJo's, but it's on the good list and it stands because I believe the anime said that stands are the pinnacle of what Hamon users are trying to access, but it really doesn't make sense that way. Hamon is different. Stands are cooler. Stands are practically your like inner persona of a person that is actively there, and they can just manifest naturally or by force. You don't even have to go through use. You don't even have to use the arrow. It's kind of a cool thing because each stand that you have is kind of basically you, right? So you got like what is it, Star Platinum from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure 3 with Jotaro. He can catch a bullet from his temple to his head in that second. And you got like Emerald Green or Echoes from Part 4. All these are really good. Another one that I would really do, in terms of stands, I really would want is like the hand because I kind of want to know where the stuff the hand touches go. Like I'm on anime only, so I think I heard they were making a part 7. They were starting to animate it, which I'm excited for, and I can't wait because stands are a cool concept. And here's a new category of I call this like the goat, meaning these are the power systems in the world that I would want the world to have, right? Just to see how people would be, right? One of them is Nin, kind of like cursed energy, but more fleshed out and actually better because there's like three forms of Nin. There you got the Zetsu, the other ones. I'm blanking on it, and at this point, it really doesn't care because at this time, it's practically cursed energy, except it comes from you, not like I mean, I guess cursed energy comes from you too, but then it has more practical uses than cursed energy. Like you can turn into a lightning god with cursed energy, and you can practically do the same thing with Nin. But Nin, you also got the Buddha statue that the chairman had, but you can also turn yourself into an old man, like how Gon did, by making a contract with himself, saying, "All right, I'm gonna use all my juice. Let's beat this ant." And then you got like the likes of Miriam. No, it's Meruem. You got the likes of Meruem just being practically a 2-month-old baby fighting a grown ass man, and it's some of the best anime you can actually watch. All around solid, right? Nin is one of the best power systems that the world could have because I want to see what they would do. Like in terms of population control, it's probably going to be devastating because people are going to wipe each other out, and that's why I think they have like standards like only hunters can access Nin or something along that because If a person dies while a nin ability is in effect, it gets stronger. Kind of like cursed energy. Basically cursed energy ripped off every good part of nin. But the reason why I put nin above cursed energy is because nin has been around longer and it's been fleshed out more. And here is like my personal favorite one, and it's only because it's also from my favorite anime. And it's I don't know. I think it's just a special ability users from Bungo Stray Dogs. Basically, if you're an author, like a famous one, like your most famous work becomes your power. Like H.P. Lovecraft has the power of like Cthulhu, which is cool. You got Johnny Appleseed. Uh, that's probably not his name, but you got all these people who write throughout like all of history who will have like abilities. So any author out there who's like I personally want to see it so I can see what like R.L. Stein's superpower is gonna be, because Goosebumps is gonna be like a nutty way to sit there and have the world go into chaos. Same with like J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter and her series. Like hers is gonna be actual magic. She's gonna have the killing curse, and it's just gonna be funny for everything. You got like Brandon Sanderson, who's gonna have, I don't know what he writes, but his ability is gonna be something like Mistborn. I think maybe he'll turn into Mist or something like that. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about. It's basically a nothing video, but it's one that I wanted to make because my brother and I were having a conversation over which of these power systems would be the best ones to have in real life. But if there's any that I missed and y'all want me to cover, just put in the comments. And be sure to like, subscribe, and if you want, you can hit that bell. I personally wouldn't want to have a notification when you can hear my voice, but to each their own. Um, and thank you.